Hi everyone, I'm Hoodie Angel Brandon, and welcome to another legendary Abyssal hero battle. Today, the Angel Army must completely purge the infidels from this land and assert absolute dominance over the most worthless being to ever exist. We are going to destroy this wretched creature and reclaim the gold Norian hairpin and return it to our dear big brother Xander and reclaim the glory of Nor in the process. And this map is frankly not very difficult. The enemies are not anything particularly interesting or special, which of course just speaks volumes of the person that recruited them. So to take it one step further and assert absolute dominance over them, we are going to do this map by taking no damage whatsoever. They will fail to make even a single mark upon our Angel Army, and likewise, they will make no mark on history, being forgotten by the sands of time, their legacy never having existed. Truly a fate worse than death. They will be remembered by no one, as if they never existed at all. So for this very important operation, we have selected some truly incredible units to make this a reality. Leading the charge is, of course, our dear Professor. However, he has tapped into the true power of God Sothis and become the Enlightened One, and he will use his legendary might to wipe the enemies off of the map using repeated nuclear orbit blasts from Sublime Heaven. Really, he's not doing anything too unusual. He's just nuking things with Sublime Heaven charges, and we are stacking his attack and speed to do so. Wind Sweep will prevent enemies from counterattacking, which is important for our secondary goal of taking no damage. Next up is our dear Papa Geralt, the legendary Blade Breaker, here to show these posers what a true mercenary looks like. He is going to completely decimate them, breaking them over his knee and asserting absolute dominance. With his mighty Breaker Lance, he can support his team and debuff the enemies, allowing him to both completely tear through his opponents and also soften up enemies for our teammates to take out. Other than that, he is mostly stacking his attack and defense to make sure that he doesn't take damage, and attack to just completely tear through enemies. We are also running Ignis over something like Aether or Gale Force to have a very reliable nuke that scales off of his defense, just completely one-shotting certain threats who would be able to do at least a little bit of damage to us. Also, the Canto effect from AD Near Trace allows him to play a little bit more support with reposition to move units around, but mostly he is here as a secondary offensive threat. Next is the awe-inspiring Saint Seth, here to rally our troops with his Spear of Assault. He is here just to support everyone with his spear and drive attack to help us get key kills. Close Guard also prevents us from taking damage, and other than that, he is mostly just moving units around with reposition. And finally, making her grand debut on the Abyssal stage is our darling Annette, who is here to make sure that no foes lay a single hand upon our dear friends. Doing her absolute best to protect everyone, she will make sure that no one manages to lay a scratch on us by stacking all of her def and res and just jumping in the way of any ranged threats, allowing everyone else to focus on melee. She won't always be able to take out enemies on counterattack because there are some bulky ones on this map. However, she does take out a lot of them, and even the ones that she can't take out, she will end up leaving in a much more favorable position for us to pick off on our turn, and all of that while taking no damage, which makes her very impressive actually. So with that, let us scrub these infidels from history, as these beings did not get the privilege of Professor Byleth's tutelage. Allow us to impart one single lesson before we remove you from history itself. You see, the law of battle is that the strong will survive, while the weak will be forgotten. Resigned to being left face down in a ditch. That is the fate that awaits you. To start, we will begin by repositioning our units and having our dear professor over here so that he can break this obstacle and allow enemies to move towards us on this side, allowing us to pick them off as they approach and giving us a little more space to work with. Next, we want our dear Papa Geralt to move down to bait out this Sword Knight who has Assault Troop and will begin charging at us. However, we don't want to move all the way down, as then they will begin using warping tactics to rush down and take us out. And while Annette is very tanky, she is not actually able to endure a hit from this cheater who has just swallowed all of the stat boosters in Fodlan. Seriously, the only trick that she has is that she just swallowed every single stat booster and has just inflated her stats immensely. Funny enough, actually, Annette does tank her in Arena, but not here. So since there are just so many stats in play, we're going to have to play a little more carefully, and we don't want them warping, so we're going to move Geralt down just 2 spaces instead of the full 3. Annette will move over in position so that she can wall off this Green Cavalier, and we'll move Sedith over to support as well, while keeping him away from Geralt so that his Rouse skill can trigger next turn. Green Cavalier moves in to attack Annette and does 0 damage, a sight we will be very accustomed to seeing on this map. She kills on the counterattack with a double thanks to Crafty Fighter. The Sword Knight charges at Geralt, and he just completely breaks him while charging up our Ignis in the process, so that is good to go. We will now have Professor Byleth completely wipe this Axe Dragon off the face of the earth. Goodbye. 2 hits takes it down, and now we can send Geralt in to hit this blue Fafnir with the Ignis. It transforms, but will not actually get a chance to do anything because the Ignis will break right through 100 damage, and now we have taken 0 damage ourselves, and we can use Kanto to move up here instead. That blue Fafnir was the main reason we needed to swap to Ignis, just to make sure that we take no damage. Next, we will have Annette move down and swap with Sedith, who will now then reposition her over so that she is in range to protect Byleth and Geralt. Red Bow attacks, and this one is very tanky, so Annette cannot take him out, but we will take a little bit of damage off of him and soften them up so that now they're in range for Geralt to finish him off. 1, 2, and down they go. And now we will just move Geralt up again, and now we're going to have Annette swap so that she is still in range to protect Geralt, but now we have moved Byleth up, and now we're just going to have Sedith reposition him, and he will move into position and take out this Lance Cavalier with another shot of Sublime Heaven. Whoosh, 1 shot. And pass turn. Again, they have so far managed to do absolutely nothing except hurling themselves to die on Geralt's lance. That is the only thing they've accomplished. I suppose technically some of them have also died by Annette's bow, like we just saw there. The Sword Flyer will now rush into Geralt and similarly just fall on his lance. Next, Byleth will move down and take out this Green Thief. Thanks to Wind Sweep, it cannot counterattack, so we will just hit it with Sublime Heaven. The second hit will finish it off. And now Geralt will pull us out of the way and move over here like so. And now we do want to get him out of the way, so we're going to have Sedith reposition him up, and Annette will move up away from this Axe Fighter. Now the time has come. With Papa Geralt providing debuffs thanks to Breaker Lance, and Sedith supporting with Spear of Assault and Drive Attack, our dear Professor can unleash the full might of God Sothis upon this infidel. Wipe them from the face of the earth. And now they are dead forever. However, we do have to clean up the remnants of these ragtag losers, so we're going to just have Sedith move over and Annette will move up as well, and then we'll have Geralt reposition Byleth and pass turn. Red Cavalier attacks into Annette, still doing 0 damage, and we will counter with a Deadeye for 104 damage, my lucky number, an auspicious sign of our impending victory. We can have Papa Geralt take out the Axe Fighter with Ignis. It retaliates for 0 damage, and then we will finish off the job. And now we're just going to have Annette move over here and wall off the enemy. Green Manakete attacks into her, does 0 damage. Nothing to fear. And now they are debuffed by Geralt's Breaker Lance, so Byleth can finish them off with a Sublime Heaven for 89 damage. Drop them down. And now, actually, you know what? Let's have Sedith actually get to do something. Sedith, get in there and finish off the Cleric. 249 hits, another of my lucky numbers, another auspicious sign, and with that, we have purged the evil from this land. And we have reclaimed our dear gold Norian hairpin. Truly a wonderful trophy to have earned. So with that, the evil is defeated. Thank you all so much for watching and joining my beloved Angel Army on one of the most important missions they have ever accomplished. Not only just scrubbing the wretched beast from history, but also doing it while taking no damage, just to prove how feeble their resistance was. They left not a single mark upon us, and we have asserted absolute dominance. Anyway, until next time, this is Hoodie Angel Brandon and the Angel Army, signing out.